Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Lunch Break Live, real talk about obesity, food addiction, recovery, and what's really eating you. I am Carrie Dela Cruz, happy to be with you for a second day in a row, which only means I have received the gift of peace at my day job. So I'm really happy to be here with all of you to talk about something, very seasonal. The idea of regifting. And so that is what today's show is all about, making the case for regifting. All right. So let's see. Where should I begin? Well, first of all, I want to welcome you all in. I think I might already have done that. And I want to thank you all for being here and for coming back. You know, after yesterday's show, I wasn't really sure if I would have an audience today after sharing with you my purpose, I guess you could say, or what I believe the purpose of this show is. So I am really, really happy that you guys decided to come back and share this with me, because boy, it would be incredibly lonely if it were just me and, well, you, Mom. I mean, it's not like there's anything wrong with that, but it's nice to see one other face out there. So anyway, I want to thank you all for being here and launch right into it. Now, it is the season for giving and receiving, right? I think we can all agree to that. Now, when we were kids, we focused on getting, right? It's like, what am I going to get? I wonder what Santa's going to bring me, or what I'm going to get for Hanukkah. Oh my gosh, I hope I get everything on my list. It's all about me, gimme, right? You remember that? And our parents would often tell us, or the adults in our lives would often tell us, oh, you know what, someday you'll understand that the real gift comes from watching you receive the gift. You know, that's the real gift. I receive much more from giving than I do from receiving. And that's what we'd always hear. And then I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, I'd be like, yeah, right, give me the gift. You know, it's like, yeah, right. I'll just tear open my paper and see what I get, because you know what? I get much more in this box that I'm opening than you think you could ever get by giving me this box, right? And then something weird happens. And all of a sudden you get excited about giving something to somebody else. Especially as a parent. I mean, it's like doubling down. The minute you start to create this wonderful environment of giving to your kids, it's like, wow, this is way better than receiving, right? But you don't know till you know. I think it's probably that way about a lot of things, right? Anyway, yesterday I talked about the purpose of this show and how I believe my purpose for doing this is to freely give the gift that I freely received. And that is, of course, the gift of recovery from food addiction and obesity. That gift was freely given to me, and I chose to receive it. And I believe that my purpose is to give that gift freely. And let me tell you, just like giving a gift to my child or to a friend or my mom or anybody, the joy that I receive when you guys receive the gift that I'm able to share is so far beyond the gift that I even received myself. It's just remarkable how that works. And so today I do want to talk about the idea of regifting that gift, which is pretty much what I'm doing every day on this show. I'm regifting the gift of recovery. Let's see here. Today on my wall, one of the things I asked out there was whether your goal was more about losing weight or gaining life. And of course, my questions are never about what they really appear to be, right? What they might seem to be. I always have an ulterior motive, or there's always something going on below the surface, which does not mean that there's a wrong or a right answer at all. And many of you guys said both. I'm looking for both. You know, my goal is to lose weight so I can live a better life. And other people would say, I gained more of a life by losing weight. And so, right, the focus was always on both of those things together. And some of us, you know, said, well, because I failed at losing weight, I have then failed at gaining a life. And I encouraged you guys to begin to focus on succeeding at gaining a life instead of focusing on losing the weight. And some of you also sagely figured out that perhaps gaining life is a byproduct of losing weight. Well, guess what I assert? I assert that losing weight is a byproduct of gaining life. And that's really what I wanted to talk about a little bit today. What is beneath the surface of what we so frequently focus on. I mean, when we're talking about treating obesity or we're talking about food addiction, it always seems to be linked, inexorably linked, connected to losing weight, as if the proof that you are treating your obesity and your food addiction will only be demonstrated when the scale has a certain number, right? And that is all the proof that you need that you are, quote, succeeding at achieving the goal of blah, 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 blah. But I think the minute you stop worrying about that is when you actually get to fully receive the gift of recovery. That's been my experience anyway. So anyway, as I mentioned, that whole concept of having you guys focus on choosing, is it about losing weight or is it about gaining life? That really wasn't the purpose of that at all. I was digging deep. I was looking for a way to encourage you guys to reframe and refocus the gift of recovery. And it really, really is a gift. For me, my recovery actually began the day I stopped focusing on my weight. Honestly. Once I stopped focusing on my weight, I began to really experience the true gift, the fullness of recovery. And I think that is because as long as I focused on being a certain weight or focused on what I wasn't going to eat or what I was going to eat or whatever, I was focusing on me and myself and what I would do and what I wouldn't do. And there's all that self-absorption, And let me tell you, that is not a gift. Okay? That is not a present to be thinking about me all the time. All right. So I was actually happy to give that one away, to give that one up for sure. So once I let go of that and I began looking at living free from obesity and food addiction, you get it? That was when I realized that the gift of recovery is not what it gives me. It is what I can now give to others. This is where the idea of regifting really should start to make sense to you guys, okay? Now, let's see here, if I can separate some papers here. A lot of people talk about the idea of paying it forward, right? You guys have heard that expression, or giving back. Giving back, gee, that's an interesting concept, isn't it? And I think that really comes into play when we're talking about choosing recovery, okay? I can now, because I chose to accept the gift of recovery, I can freely give others the gift of, ready? Here are some of the gifts I get to give others in my life. Attention, respect, love, support, joy, contentment, forgiveness, and compassion. Try wrapping those up in a box, huh? Those are huge gifts. They were gifts that I gave myself, but I am now able to give to others. Do you kind of think that's a cool thing? Like it's kind of a big deal? I think it is. You have heard me say that obesity and food addiction are very, very selfish conditions. All right. When I was active in my sickness, it was all about me. Just completely, right? It was about my unhappiness and my insecurity and my fears and my weight and my abilities or inabilities. It was about my limitations and my need and, my food. It was all about me. Me, me, me. Ick. Ooh, it's kind of yucky when I think back on it, but it's true. It was about what I wanted. It was about getting my needs met now, right now, because I wanted it. And guess what? That made me pretty unavailable to meet the needs of others or even consider anyone else because I wasn't able to see anybody but me, okay? It was pretty much unavailable, my attention, right? My love, my compassion, all that stuff, my forgiveness, pretty much unavailable to everyone in my life. Whether it was the people that lived in my house with me, whether it was the people I call family, whether it was my friends, whether it was my coworker. Because all of the emphasis and all of the focus was on myself. I was not able to give anything of value or meaning or substance to anyone else. Okay? How often do we, in our sickness, attempt to give others things like, compassion and love and mercy and all of that stuff, the gift of our time and whatever. How often do we, because we are so wrapped up in our sickness and because we don't have it to give, how often do we try to fill in those blanks and fill in that need and that gift with other things, whether it's buying things for people? So in other words, we don't treat them well. We treat them like garbage. We're mean to them. We bully them, whatever it is. But we'll buy them gifts. And we'll claim it's not to make up for that or anything. It's just because, we love them or whatever. But the reality is, somewhere deep down inside, are we trying to make up for something? Are we trying to find a way to give them something? But since we're so consumed with ourselves, we don't have it to give, and we find something else to give, whether it's the gift of, I'll help you, right? Because we need to be needed, or the gift of, let me buy that for you. Let me pick that up. Let me do that for you, whatever it is, right? And I kind of think that it falls flat, and it can be really hollow sometimes because it's not really a gift. They talk about like the ultimate gift is giving something that you really can't afford to give, right? And giving something that the other person genuinely wants. It's like that story, the widow's mite, in the Bible. Like, it didn't matter that these rich men would go into the temple and whatever and give lots and lots of money. They had it to give. They had it to spare. But this widow gave all that she had. She gave her last, they call it the widow's mite. She gave her last cent, I guess you could say. And that was all she had to give. Well, to me, isn't that the ultimate gift when it's all that you have to give, right? That really is the goal. And you have much more to give when you choose the gift of recovery for yourself. It's just true. There's much more there to give. All right. Let's see here. Let me see my notes, because as usual, I'm kind of like going off there as I'm thinking about stuff. Let's see. All right. Before recovery, it was getting what I wanted. I mean, that was just really the bottom line. Getting what I wanted. It was really not about giving, because I wanted it. And look, I'm not going to say I was a horrible person, okay? When we do that stuff, when we try to take care of our needs, whether it's because we're protecting ourselves or whether we feel empty and lonely and unloved and whether we were hurt or whatever it is, and we're trying our very best, to feed healthy needs, but we just, end up feeding them in those needs in unhealthy ways because it's all we can do. So we're not bad people. We're not horrible people. We're just often misguided, often unaware, and always accountable. See, that's the key here. And this gets very tricky because a lot of us look at it and go, well, I'm responsible for it, and it's just too hard for me to own that because it's just so painful and I can't go back and change it, whatever. Let's just talk about accountability. I am accountable that once I become aware that it's a problem, that if I continue to do it, then I'm responsible. But the minute I realize that it's a problem, that if I continue behaving in this unhealthy way, if I continue to not be available to people, to be sick all over them, right? To not be the person that they desperately need me to be. If I am choosing that, okay, then I'm responsible for it. But I think ultimately the accountability comes in saying, I need to own my crap. I talk about it all the time, and it is just so true, okay? The minute we become aware of it, it's up to us to own it, see? And by owning our crap, that's a gift that we get to give others who had to put up with our crap, who had to smell the stink of our crap, right? Who had to see the crap all over us, who, I like to say, took on emotional shrapnel, right? And they were like, whoa, 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 right? They're just taking it on when they least expect it because we have it all over them, okay? Or physical shrapnel. Like physically, where we weren't present for them, we weren't there for them because of our physical limitations that were caused by obesity or whatever else it was, that we just physically were not there for them, and we let them down in a big, big way, all right? So I am accountable for my behaviors. Yes, even the ones I wasn't aware of, okay? But it's up to me to, once I become aware of them, to change those behaviors so that I can choose recovery, I can receive that gift, and I have more to give to others. All right. Here's what I want to know. If it wasn't all about you, big premise, if it wasn't all about you, What gift would you give to others? That's like the big question for the day. Now that I've kind of laid the foundation there, I've paved the road and I've said, this is what the gift looks like. This is a way in which I can now be available to others because I chose the gift of recovery, blah, blah, blah. What are some gifts that as you sit back and think about it, you realize you have not chosen to or been able to give to others in your life, right? Whether it was the gift of your presence, your physical presence or your strength or your courage or your presence, whatever it was, right? Be thinking about those things, all right? Think about it in relation to your loved ones, friends, others in this world, the people that you work with, okay? What is the one thing you've held on to that keeps you prisoner to your obesity or addiction? What eats you up? What is that thing that gets in here and that says, I am not available to whatever because I have not chosen to receive the gift of recovery? What is that thing? Look at that thing. See if you can reveal it to yourself and hold on to the image of that thing. It's so very important. I would say, obviously, this is the kind of stuff that eats us up, remember, because that's what I talk about all the time. What's eating us up that we're feeding? Okay, hint, there it is. All right, start by making a list. This is what I suggest, because these are going to be different for all of us. They're not the same. We represent different things to different people. We have different gifts to offer people. All of us do. So our lists are going to look different. So start with that wish list. That's what I would say, of gifts that you wish to give, and they're not the same for everybody. In your life as well. We give different things to different people. And here are some things I wanted to think about. I want you to think about, okay? So how about confidence, the gift of confidence? Making them, the other person, trust in you or have confidence in you, knowing that you will be there, that you'll be present. I put confidence, trust, and honesty. How about the gift of forgiveness? When we're sick, we hold on to that stuff because it's what we know, or we're scared to let go, or we don't know how, or whatever it is, right? And they talk about forgiveness is the greatest gift we can give to ourselves. Yeah, but guess what? It's also a beautiful gift to give to somebody else. So what about forgiveness? Is that a gift that you've been holding back on and not giving to somebody? How about mercy? Ooh, right? Mercy? Oh, they don't deserve it. They really screwed up. They don't deserve, How about the gift of mercy? Compassion. How about physical presence? Being there, being present at the party, the social gathering, the reunion, the anniversary, the celebration, right? Being with the family, being present, and oh yeah, being present in pictures. Your physical presence, what a gift you can give, right? Or your emotional presence, showing up because you get out of your own way. It's not all about you. You are now able to see beyond yourself, right? What about your emotional presence? Showing up, just standing there and being present for them, letting that other person know that you are there. Wow, what a gift. What a gift, right? Setting aside judgment and criticism. Great gifts. Not judging somebody, not criticizing them, not beating them up. How about giving them the gift of you not being insecure and self-absorbed, right? Wow, that's like a huge gift to me. How about the gift of you not tripping up over your pride and your ego? That kind of stuff stops us from being able to truly give selflessly, give from ourselves, give fearlessly and courageously. Pride gets in the way of our truly being able to give of ourselves. Love, giving love, right? What a gift. We want love. How beautiful to be able to give love and feel loved in return. Health, the gift of your own health, knowing that you're taking care of yourself, knowing that you'll be there for your kids or your grandkids and your spouse and your friends. That's huge. How many of us say that we pulled ourselves back from the precipice, the brink of death? It was knocking on our door with our obesity, our morbid obesity. That's why it's called that. It's not that it's a judgment of us and saying we're morbid. It's saying the obesity will kill us. Talk about the gift of health that we can give to somebody else by claiming that gift for ourselves and making healthier decisions and choices in our lives. The gift of peace. Let it go. Leave it alone. You don't have to say something about everything. You don't have to fight every battle. You don't have to. Just let it go. Peace, the gift of peace. The gift of laughter. The gift of laughter. How joyful is that? And how joyful to be able to laugh, right? The gift of an apology. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I am so sorry, right? That's a big one. It's not easy to give. The interesting thing about all of these things that I mentioned is these are all gifts we give to ourselves. I'm sorry, Carrie. I am so sorry for mistreating you. I am so sorry for abusing you, Carrie. I am so sorry for beating you up. I am so sorry for not believing in you, for saying that you had no value. Right? That's a gift that I gave to myself. The gift of laughter, the gift of compassion, right? The gift of confidence, forgiving myself, showing up. Oh, what a gift when I show up, when I'm here. That is a gift I give to myself. So I want you to think about that. These gifts that I asked you to give to somebody else are truly gifts that start with giving them to yourself, right? Don't you guys kind of agree? It's kind of wild. This is why I'm talking about regifting. And the beauty of it is, this regifting does not require you to give away and not retain anything. It's like breaking the bread and you don't lose any bread in the process. And maybe I shouldn't say bread because it's a cheap carb, but you get the idea. The point is lighting a candle, right? Right? Lighting a candle. Our candle loses nothing by lighting someone else's candle. That's the kind of regifting I'm talking about. We're just bringing more light into a darkened space. How cool is that? I don't know about you, but I am so totally excited. And that is the reason for the season, if you ask me. That is the reason for this time of year, this gift of recovery that we give to ourselves and we regift to others. That's what I would exhort you guys to think about today because it's so awesome. All right, these are the things that the gift of recovery gives to us. And I think it gives us the freedom to regift, okay? Let me say that again. These are all things that the gift of recovery gives to us and which give us the freedom to regift these same things to others. You see how that worked? So that's it. That's what I got. Let me check my time. Woo, it's running long. I guess I'm back in the saddle, huh? I'm thinking that I'm not going to do a shout out to you guys today and read what you're talking about. I'll go offline and do that, but I promise I will keep it shorter next time so that I can address your stuff. And I want to encourage you guys, you know what gift you can give to me? The gift of regifting my show. Truly. Which really is more about you than about me, by the way, but go ahead and regift this show. It costs you nothing. It certainly costs me nothing, and yet, how much does it give all of us, really? So I want to encourage you to do that. The other thing is I would like you to give from your heart some input, suggestions, ideas, things you'd like me to talk about on the show, things you like, things you would like to see more of or less of or whatever it is, right? Because this is an evolution. Just as I am an evolution as a person in my recovery, so are you guys. So too is the show. So I would ask you the gift of input and feedback to me. Tell me, you know what would you like to see more of? What would you like to see less of? What do you like? Okay. So that's about it. For now, I think I have given you guys a ton of stuff to think about. I'll be interested to hear your feedback. So I'm going to leave you all on that note and remind you all to have courage, seek peace, embrace joy, and above all, choose the gift of recovery and regift it. Remember, you can't stop feeding what's eating you if you don't know what's eating you. I will see you guys tomorrow. You take care. Bye, guys.